Okay, this video is about virtual keys. Talked about virtual keys in the past, but now I finally found out how to do virtual keys. So this is part 4, and so this is the demonstration here. So you're able to press enter and fire a weapon using the keyboard, but if you were to use this for your digital device, tablet or phone, you would press down on the buttons while moving or just stopping and fire a weapon. So he can move and fire a weapon at the same time. Before, I was using a mouse click event to move, but it would only allow you to do one button at a time. Virtual keys allow you to do 2 buttons at one time. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So you can press pause and then go back, and the virtual keys are still there. So these white boxes are called virtual keys, and you can make them invisible, and I'll show you how to do that. So it just shows the actual button, not the square. You can't make them circles. You can only make them squares for Game Maker, but like I said, you can make sure they're full size, so they go from the top to the bottom of the button. So it's you're easily able to press on it and then fire the weapon or jump or whatever you have to do. And then when you're able to move, camera view, and the buttons follow the player. Now with the pause button, it's not a virtual key. You can see that clearly because there's no white box on it and it's not invisible. This is I treat this as a mouse click event because I've tried to use a virtual key for a pause and it doesn't work correctly. So you have to actually use it as a mouse click event, which means that you actually have to stop and then press the button to pause it, and then you can resume, and it fires a weapon, of course, to resume it. So let me show you how I did this. This should conclude my videos on virtual keys. But I'm going to show you how I did this, because when I talked about virtual keys before, I couldn't use this pause code, because this pause code he's actually going to another room when you press the pause button and you go back to your main room. And so I wasn't able to use that before, because when I did that, when I go back to the main room, these virtual keys would be off the buttons. They would not be locked down. And so now I know how to do that, how to keep them locked down when you go back to the room using the pause code here. Because there was another way of doing pause, but now I can do it when you jump to another room and go back to the same room. I can do it now, and the virtual keys will not be off the button. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so this is how it's done. So virtual keys can be tedious. So each of these buttons, the up button, the left button, right, down, and fire button, have virtual keys on them. The pause is a mouse click event, and let me show you that real quick. So the pause button, modify mask to rectangle, so it's only on the button itself here. Origin 00. You have to have a step event in here, because when you move, when the camera view follows the player, you don't want the button to jump, and so you need the step event in here to keep it stable, so the button's not jumping back and forth when you're moving using the camera view. So you use the x equals view underscore x view. Then you have the brackets 0 in bracket plus 1300. The y equals a view underscore y view, bracket 0, 1800. So this is saying that you want the button at the bottom of the screen using the Y event, because it's going to go down. Because higher the number, it means that the button's going to go down. So if you have this at 800, it's going to go up. So Y is talking about up and down. So if you have this number at a lower number, you have it at 800, 700, 500, whatever, then the button's going to actually go up to the top of the screen. So you want it to go down the bottom of the screen, so I have it at 1800. But you also need a draw event in there as well, and this is the draw event code right here. So it's stating that you're going to have the image sprint, which is the button itself, view xview 1300, and view for the Y is 1800. So you want to have these numbers the same as the step event. So you need the draw event in here. You could potentially just have the draw event in there, and then when you move the character, the button would follow the character, but then when you press down on the button, it wouldn't do anything, because you need the step event in there for it to actually do something. So you can, actually press on the button and it'll actually do something. So if you don't have the step event in here and you only have the draw event in there, when you press down on the button, it's not going to do anything, because it's only drawing the image on the screen. It's not actually allowing you to press down on the button. Game Maker's saying, okay, is this a draw image placed on the screen? It doesn't mean that he's going to press on anything. So in order for it to, you actually physically have to press on something to make something happen. You have to have the step event in there as well, and the numbers have to match. So the step event is 1300, 1800. So the draw event has to be the same. It has to be 1300 by 1800. So it's in the same exact place. Then you need a left pressed mouse event. So add event, go to mouse, go down to left pressed, because you can't do a right, you can't do a middle, because I've tried it with my phone and my tablet, and it will not recognize anything except left pressed. I don't know why, but left press is the only thing that the phone and the tablet will only allow. Use any other events, it won't do anything. So use left pressed, and you want to say global.my underscore room equals room, room underscore persistent equals true, room underscore go to room 1. Room 1 is the Paul's room right here. So this is the Paul's room right here. And this is the image I used. Inside this image here, have create events, have a var that states that image underscore speed value equals 0.1. So it's going to go pretty quick. I only have 2 animations in here, and you see how fast it goes, really quick. So I want to slow that down. So, and I have this origin at x22, y is 0, keep it centered in the middle of the screen. So I have this set variable in here at 0.1, so that way it slows down the animation. And so I don't need too many images in my, so I'm only using 2 images for this to animate back and forth. And so this will slow it down using this var statement. That will save me on image space, so I don't have to put a lot of images in here to slow the animation down. I can just use the set variable. If I change this to 0.2, it'll go faster. The animation will go faster, so 0.1 will really slow it down. And the depth's at minus 500. Alright, and the way I did this background real quick, I just went, let's see, Game Maker has it set up where I just had this one image here of a triangle shape. One's dark gray color, the other one's light gray color, and then I lowered the opacity in the image, lowered the opacity right here. Alright, and then I just went to background and I clicked on that, and it automatically it did all this extra images, which is what I wanted. So you don't have to make a big image for a background. You can just use one small square image, and then you want to make sure it's visible when the room starts, and draw a background color. And when you click on this background, Game Maker automatically expands it out to the whole screen of your room size. Oh, and then you want to make sure, this is what really makes it happen, make sure it's tiled horizontal, make sure it's tiled vertical. See, if you just have it tiled vertical, it just does one set. Do tile horizontal, it does the whole the whole room. That's the magic. That's where the magic happens right here by checking those two. Do stretched and it does one big image, and it doesn't look good. So make sure the tile vertical and tile horizontal is selected. That will do the whole background, and also save on image size. So that's another shortcut for Game Maker. So there's two shortcuts how to do that background. Use the tile horizontal, tile vertical, and then with the animation, make this slowing it down. You just go in the variable here, set variable to 0.1, image underscore speed. Okay, let me talk about what this video is really about, which is virtual keys. So, in the object fire button, I have room start. You want to make sure it's set to room start. Go to add event, go to other, and check room start. Do not use game start, don't use game end, do not use room end, use room start, because any of the other ones I've used, game start, game end, and room end, it doesn't, the button doesn't come back when you go out of, when you pause the game and resume, the virtual key does not come back. So I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. So I press game start, right? Get rid of this. Oh, I got rid of that, didn't I? Hold on. Cut, change to game start, paste. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So I set it to game start. When I play the game, on the fire button is there. When I go to pause and go back out, it's not there. Hold on, let me rescale this out. Okay, so now it's there right now, but when I press the pause and then go back into it, it's not there. So make sure you don't use game start. Change it to room start, because room start will make the button come back after you press resume. Alright, so in the room start, I labeled this object fire for the object button. The virtual key is called fire equals virtual key underscore add. And this right here, I have it 51 by 00. I talked about right here, the right small number, so goes to the right. So if this number right here is smaller, if this is like, what, 500 instead of 5100, it's going to go to the right. So the virtual key, the square virtual key is going to go to the right on screen. So I actually want it to go left. So if I want to go, if I wanted to go left, right, right small number goes to the right, left number goes to the left. So if it's larger, it goes to the left. If it's smaller, it goes to the right. So let me see. Let me just see something real quick. If I change that to 500, yeah, it goes way over here. So if I change this number to 500, the virtual keys goes way over here. It was right here on the fire button, but now it's over here. So with a higher number, it's going to go to the left, or go to the right. So if you want the button go over here, the virtual key, then you want to have a higher number for the right. For the left, you want to have a smaller number. Yes, I said right, small number. You want to have if you want it to go left, well, in this situation, I should change this. This one's backwards. So if you want it to go right, you got to have a larger number on this one. Larger number goes to the left. Have a go to the left. Smaller number. So if you want the virtual key to go to the right, you gotta have a higher number. So this is a higher number. So this is going right. So you need a higher number. So I have 5100. This number right here talks about. So this number right here talks about the x-axis. Okay, talks about the x coordinate. This one talks about the y coordinate. So the y coordinate here. So at a high number, it's going to go to the bottom. Large number goes down. The low number is going to go up. So if I change this to 100, 2670. You see how it went up? I think it was 2670, it was 2650. Okay, that's right. Okay, so basically, for the Y, if you have this at a low number, it's going to go up to the top of the screen. If you want it to go down, you have to have a higher number. So 2670 is right on the button. These two numbers here is how big you want your button to be. So I have it at 450 and 450. So X and Y right here for the size of the button. It'll stretch it out, going X and then Y. So 450, 450 is pretty good. If I make this 300, it'll be smaller, the square. So that's what that's talking about. Then you also want to have virtual key show. Okay, so this is going to show your virtual key. If you don't want it to show, then you want to grade that out, and you want to have this visible, so we'll hide the button. So you'll see now I'll hide the button. So now the virtual key is invisible. You can't see it. It's there on the button, but it's not visible on screen. That's what you want when you finally got your buttons where they need to be. And he's able to fire. So I know it's not deleted because I press enter to fire the weapon. And you can see here that I say v key underscore enter. So this is the button it's going to utilize for your your button fire. So when you keyboard, it'll fire the weapon, but when you play it on your Android device, you won't have enter button, but when you press down on that fire button, it will fire. So it's kind of substituting the keyboard, for your virtual key on the screen for your Android device. But if you're on the computer, you can use enter to fire your weapon. So it's using both the keyboard and virtual keys for your device, if that makes sense. So you're going to use v key underscore enter for firing your weapon. You also need to show it here. When you press down on the button, then it's going to fire the weapon. So you go to main tab, grab a create instance, then you say you want it to fire from the player, so go to object, change it to player, then the weapon is going to be called weapon object weapon 1. So you want to make sure that's selected there in the object. Make sure it's relative, so it's going to shoot out in the location where you have the crosshairs at. So it's going to shoot out in this location right here. That's why you said it's relative. Crosshairs at 50-50 for the player, and when he bumps up against that block, he's going to stop. Speed 0. Make sure the block is solid. And then when you shoot the weapon, it's going to destroy the block, set itself, and then it's going to destroy other. So it's also going to destroy the weapon as well. That one particular weapon when you shoot it out. Not all of them when you shoot them. If you shoot 3 of them out, it's only going to shoot that one that hits the block. That's why you set it to other. If you set it to self, it's going to destroy all of them when you shoot them all out. Alright, and then the weapon is going to, I have it go to move, drag over move direction. It's going to shoot right at 50 speeds. Make sure it's set to relative. And then after 20 milliseconds, the main 2 tab, I did 20 milliseconds, alarm 0 kicks in, and it's going to destroy the weapon. So you have to, it won't shoot all the way across the screen. At 20 milliseconds, it's going to die. It's going to be destroyed. Set it to self. If it leaves the room, it's going to destroy others. It's going to destroy the weapon. You don't want it to keep continuing outside the room. Outside the room, meaning that once the weapon shoots all the way across this black screen here, and once it hits this area right here, it's going to be destroyed. Because you don't want it to keep going on and on in the game, because then it'll take up memory, you know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure it's destroyed once it hits the outside of the room. You won't see it anymore because it's outside the room. And that's pretty much it. Make sure that object player's depth is -10. Make sure the weapon is going to be behind it, so it's -5. Outside the room, go to add event, go to other, outside the room right there. And so these other buttons like up, left, right, and down are the same thing that I just kind of talked about with the fire button, but they're going to be at different coordinates. So with the object up button, it's going to be a different coordinate. So like I said, 940 is going up because you have less of a number. 2200, so it's going to go down. Like I said, the higher the number, it goes down. The lower number, like if it was 500, it go up. So 2200 is going down, and then the button's going to be 450, 450. The square, that's how big it's going to be. I set it to V key up on your keyboard. Make sure it matches the same here. When you press down on the keyboard, it's going to go. The player's going to go up. Set the object player, and then arrow up, and then 20 speeds, and go up 20 speeds. And when he releases the button, he's going to stop. Object player is going to stop. Speed 0. And then, like I said, you want to, once you have all your virtual keys in the right spot on the button, you want to make sure that you grayed out show and make sure it's hidden. And then I name my virtual key up key. Make sure it's the same here in the hide area. Make sure they're both the same. Up key matches here. If this is not set to up key, if this name's not the same as this, it's not going to work correctly. And you need a draw event. So this is going to draw the actual image of the button on screen, not the virtual key, but the image of the button. And that's at 380 by 1020. Then you need a draw GUI. This is a GUI layer, which is talking about the virtual key. This has to be set. This right here, display set GUI underscore size view underscore wview 3300 by, and hview is 1991. So this right here, this is what I had a problem with before. So when you pause the game and go back and resume, my buttons were off. You got to make sure that these numbers match your background. So my background, my screen size is 3300 by 1991. Port screen is 3300 by 1991. So all those coordinates there have to match the button. Okay, so in the GUI, make sure that those match 3300 by 1991. If they don't match, if this doesn't match your screen, your button's going to be off when you press resume. So that's the key right there. So this is the setting view. This is the width, 8000. So this is 8000. But the view on the screen is going to be 3300 by 1991. See the outline here? That outline is what you need. So the actual game size window when you first play the game is going to be 3300 by 1991. So that width and height has to be the same in all your virtual keys for the GUI. Make sure they match. So whatever your screen size is, make sure that it's changed here too for the width and the height. Otherwise, when you press resume on the pause, the virtual keys are going to jump off your buttons. Okay, so I'm just warning you. So I can give you an example here. So I'm going to make it visible, okay, for the up key. I'm going to change this to a different number, like 3000 by, I don't know. We'll just do that for right now. Now, I think when I first play the game, it'll be lined up, but when you go out of the room, when you press the pause button, I see they're off. See? All of them are off. Just not the one, but all of them are off. They're all off. See how they're messed up? They're not. They're off completely because it's not set correctly on the. It's not set right in the GUI. Make sure your GUI is set to the same screen size. So now they're all in the right spot now. So if one's off, it's going to mess everything else up. It's going to mess all the virtual keys up. So now they're on cue. They're all lined up now. So make sure that your GUI, they're set. That number is set the same as your height and width in your when you first play the game. So make sure that your room size, whatever your room size is, matches your virtual key GUI. Because if that's not matching, your virtual keys will be off. So that was the problem with me when I was doing virtual keys. I couldn't figure out why it's off. So I had to use a different pause setup so that the buttons wouldn't be off. But now I know how to do it. So make sure your GUI, these coordinates for your wview and hview are the same coordinates on your room size. See, even on the room size for the pause, it's the same. See, settings, width and height, 3300 by 1991. So whatever these coordinates are, whatever these measurements are, have to be the same in your GUI. They have to match. Otherwise, your buttons are going to be off. Your virtual keys will be off. No matter how many times you try to realign it, it's going to be off when you play the game because they have to be the correct number as your settings for your background, for your width and height. And that concludes my video on virtual keys. And like I said, you gotta change these numbers. Like, you gotta move these. You gotta change. What you have to do, you have to just play around with these numbers to get them lined up right. And then once you have them lined up right, make sure you hide your virtual key, and make sure this is visible. And then you hide your, say, not show, or you can delete that. And once all your buttons are lined up, and this is V key left, this is left pressed, and then the player, make sure it's set to player. He's going to go left 20. Release the player, he's going to stop. And you need to draw in there for the actual image of the button, and then the GUI, and you need the room start. These two go hand in hand right here for the virtual keys. See, same numbers, because that's your room size when you first play the game. These numbers are not matching, then your virtual keys will be off. Okay, well, thanks for watching.